Kalpana Ramani, Rani, am I audible now? You can
Yeah,
speak up.
yeah, you are. Yeah, now it's off.
Okay, it's very, you are able to hear properly, right?
Yes.
Okay, fine. Thanks. So let us give a couple more minutes for others to join, and if once there are substantial participants, I'll start the discussion. Okay. Hi, very good evening. This is Praveen, and I see like 15 plus candidates now, and then we have already waited 5 minutes, so we should be good to start with. Okay. So if anybody is not able to hear me properly, I would request you to raise your hands so that we can sort it out before proceeding further. Okay, let me put the question other way. Whoever is able to hear me, I request you to raise your hands. How about Deepthi, Manjula, Nisha, Ramani? Are you all able to hear me? If so, raise your hands. Nisha, I see only few are able to hear me. So, okay. Actually, I'm shouting at my end. Mm, Not sure what the issue is. Let me see if something can be done with that. Okay, one more quick check. Whoever is able to hear me properly, please raise your hand once. Okay, great. So it worked, I believe. Okay, so hmm, hope most of you know me. So let us start the discussion, and I want this to be very interactive. So I don't want it to be very monologue kind of thing as earlier. So I need 5 volunteers to talk to me and who are in a position to give 100% to this session. And when I say 5 volunteers, I'm going to unmute them specifically. Okay, so let me clear all the hands. So who can join me and discuss with me? I need someone to talk. I don't want to be a monotonous person talking for 2 hours. So who can interact with me? I request them to raise your hand so that we will go on to a interactive kind of session today. Okay, Ramani, thanks. Sirisha, Satya, Nisha, great. So we should be good with 4. So let me go ahead and unmute. Sirisha, okay, great. Having said that, I don't
think
deny like anyone else on the forum need not talk, but if you still have any questions, you are welcome to raise your hands and then we can discuss. Okay. So Nisha and Satya,
Hi, Praveen.
Isha, and then who else? Who else wanted to talk? Nisha, Ramani. Okay. Can you just hello me once?
Hi,
Hi,
Praveen.
Praveen.
Nisha, you are there?
Yes, yes, Praveen. Hi. Hello. Praveen, can you hear me?
Oh, it's a problem at my end. I'm not able to hear you guys. Can you speak up
Hello.
now?
Hello, Praveen, can you hear me?
Yes, sorry, yes, sorry for that.
I can hear her, Praveen,
Okay,
from my
great.
end.
Yeah, even I can hear now.
I,
So,
yeah, I can also hear you,
Yeah, I
Praveen.
can also hear you, Praveen.
okay, how about my voice? Is it good? How about
Good,
my voice?
good.
Good?
It's good.
Okay, great, great. Fine. So, as you know, like this is mainly intended for the people who are in the market and then who are trying to take up some interviews immediately. So, hope you are able to see my screen too. Satya, Nisha, and Sirisha and Ramani, I need yes or no response for most of my questions because you are not.
Yes, I can see your screen.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, definitely.
Fine. So I know like due to client confidential, I cannot share anything related to my project. So it's like more onto concept related that I have just listed these 4 requirements, which we'll try to go. These are more near to the real time, and we'll try to go over with these scenarios, and we'll see how we can fit in your concepts, whatever you have learned in Sampath's class or other testing fundamentals class, and see what can be done for such requirements. Okay, so let me okay, so resource, I'll give this to Nisha. Okay, then this one will be Ramani. Sirisha, then Satya. Okay, so I'll give a high-level explanation of these requirements, and I would request Nisha to come up with her approach. Okay, let me start this with Sirisha first. Then, okay. So what I would need is uh, she is in the job and she has to work on test design for this particular requirement. So first I need to know what is the approach that Sirisha is going to deploy on her end, and then we'll see what are the gaps and how better we can do for the test design for such requirement. Okay, so Sirisha, I'll just go with your words and just guide me how to write test cases or test scenarios for such a requirement. What would be your methodology and what all things you are going to test for such a requirement? Okay, so you are good with me, right? I can just walk you through with this requirement, and of course it's very simple here. Uh, just I'll try to give the background. So you might be getting such requirements in your project, either in your functional requirement specification document, if you are in a waterfall model or V model. If you are in an agile kind of mode, you might be getting the same requirement as a user story, and you might not be getting so detailed also. So, but maybe not to trouble you more, I just gave you more details. So you have a banking application wherein the interest rate for that particular account is going to be evaluated based on the balance in the particular account. Okay, so you have various business conditions, like if the range is from 0 to 100, what is the interest that needs to be calculated. Then if the range is greater than 100 to 1000, interest is to be 6%, and for balance, if it's greater than 1000, interest is to be 8%. So this is a very simple requirement. So I would need you to guide me for how you are going to write the test scenarios for this, and then how you are going to write the test cases. So,
Okay.
and we'll later on see, once you are done with your test scenarios and test cases, we'll see whether all the requirements are being met or not, or, or if you are missing something. So that gap we'll try to cover. Okay.
Okay. Yeah, first I'll write the test cases for 0 to 100 to check
Oh,
whether it is giving 4% or not.
Sirisha, please
And then,
hold on. I am not too fast as you, so let us go step by step. Okay. So,
sorry, yeah.
so you say you started saying test, test case itself. So you are not even going to write test scenarios.
No, I will write the test scenarios.
Okay.
So, scenario means like,
Okay, we'll go with
so we
your
have
approach.
to analyze.
Let me not interrupt you. So let us go with your approach. So you said you'll write test cases for this particular requirement, right? Okay. Okay. So this is the requirement what we have. Okay, yeah, tell me. So let me put, you said you are writing test cases for, let me put the conventional test case 001. Okay, yeah.
Okay, yeah. Yeah, this is going to be like function to check the functionality, like whether it is giving the rate 4% or not. So for that, I will first check for 0 to 100. So I'll write like the test case for that amount.
Yeah, guide
Starting,
me through some basic steps. So even if you don't have a banking, maybe uh, like I'll give you the basic steps. Like you log into your Bank of America account using your user ID and password, and upon clicking your account number, you are seeing the balance. I mean incremented balance or updated balance. Maybe you have actually gone into your bank today in person and have deposited some X amount. Okay. Now,
yeah,
now you are logging in and verifying whether that X amount is incremented with Y based on the amount that is deposited. So, the total amount that you see in your account is Z. x plus y equal to z. So basically the objective of this requirement is to evaluate whether z is coming in correctly or not. Okay. So having said this, let me know the test cases for z.
Okay.
So basic steps would be log into your BOA application using your user ID and password.
Using my like account number and password.
Okay. Okay, expected result will be, say suppose homepage is displayed.
Homepage should be displayed.
Okay. I have not been writing test cases for past 3 years. But doing this. Bear with me. Description. Okay. Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead. I'll be doing modifying.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, and homepage should be displayed, and this should be like pass or fail. Pass or fail. So this is if homepage is displayed, the test case is passed.
Okay, fine. Let me set the expectation. Okay. So here we are talking about only test design. Okay. There is not even any application for you to test and evaluate whether the test case is passed or failed. So just ignore about actual result. Okay.
Okay.
So we just need to be clear on what we are testing first. Okay. So let us talk about only test design. Okay. Okay. Then.
Okay. Yeah. Then like it should ask for the valid password. Is that also included in the login, or do we need to?
Yeah, I have taken care using valid credentials.
Everything is there.
Username and password is done, and then homepage is displayed. Yeah.
Okay, then it should show particular balances is related to that account.
Okay, it's very generic. I really don't understand when you say verify if particular balances are generated. Okay, can you be very specific? There is lot many details in this requirement, right? So okay, I'll go with it. Verify if particular okay.
Yeah, expected results also same, right?
Okay, so maybe I'll change the tense and say particular balance are generated, right? That is what you wanted, right?
Yeah.
That's it. This is the test case.
Yeah. Then now we will check like what is the balance amount.
So you want me
and
to
if it is.
So that's it.
Yeah, if it is like, or can we do, or can we go for boundary value? Like, I mean.
Yeah, I need you to drive me. So, type is job right now.
Yeah, then we will check, like we have to check whether the amount is like 0 to 100 or less than, I mean, give the negative values and check the amount.
1 second. Vijaya has some question, I believe. Vijaya, you have some question?
Yeah, actually, I raised my hand in that I wanted to ask you that I can have chance like in telling some test cases in that.
Okay.
So whether I get.
Fine. So maybe I had only 4 scenarios. So I think I'm done with this. What I'll do is, once Sirisha is done, I'll come back to you. If you think something can be done, we'll try to accommodate that before even I pitch in. Okay?
Yeah, okay. No problem. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks. Okay, Sirisha, go ahead.
Yeah, if balance is like 0 to 100, the interest rate is to be calculated is 4%.
Okay, I'm not asking you to explain the requirement back to me. So basically we need test cases now, and then we'll just guide me. So
Yeah, like we need to check whether the balance is like the range of balance, like is it like 10, 20, something like that, like below 100 or not?
mhm.
Then the interest rate.
So try to quantify your statements, Sirisha. So whatever you are saying, right? So I just go with data. Okay, I just need some test
Okay.
cases on the plate, and then once the application is ready, I will be testing them or executing them. Okay. So as of
Okay.
now, even if you have blabbered for 2 minutes or 10 minutes, I just see only 2 steps.
Mm-hmm.
So let us quantify our statements and then take it further.
Okay.
So is this the only test case then that will and you will use all these conditions to test? So this is what is the approach you are taking?
I mean, we can write the negative test cases also.
Good. Go ahead. So let me put negative test
Yeah.
cases also. Maybe test case 2, right? So for even for negative
Yeah.
test case, this might be the same step. So let me know what would be the variation for step 2.
Like the balances is not generated. The particular balances are not generated.
Okay, verify if balances are not generated. So expect result is particular balances are not generated. That's it. So okay. Okay. So if you don't have anything to add upon, I will give Vijaya to speak up so that we'll see if this can be refined a bit. Okay.
Okay.
Vijay, you can elaborate. So this is the
Yeah,
requirement.
okay.
If comes back and say like these are the 2 test cases that can be written for
Uh-huh.
particular requirement.
Yeah,
Okay.
okay. So now the application is up and running and the login is already done. So the precondition is application is the banking application, which is the calculating the balance. So the interest calculation, on the balance of on the account balance page is open, is ready for the as a precondition. And for the first test case, we will test the $0 to $100 in a balance range. We can give the as the first test case equivalence partitioning we can follow. In that we can give the valid data and also invalid data.
Mm-hmm.
So under the valid data, I wanted to give like $50.
Mm-hmm.
Check with the $50, and I will calculate the interest rate for that.
Okay.
So under the invalid data,
Mm-hmm.
I can give the negative. Yeah, I think some 0.001,
Mm-hmm.
which is no, I think under the lower than 0 values, I wanted to give like I think negative values they come under.
Mm-hmm.
So with the by giving the negative values, I will calculate the interest rate by with 4%,
Mm-hmm.
and above $100 also I will try 100 and
Okay.
like
So,
$20.
okay. Again, I'll set the expectation. So here we are actually talking about test design. Okay. So what you are going to give when the application is ready? I mean, I'm not actually executing the test case right now. Okay. So first we need to jot down what we are going to test. So here I'm interested in test cases. Okay. So maybe you are trying to tell everything on the requirement, but I need that requirement to be quantified into test cases. So Sirisha has given me 2 test cases. Okay, one is login to be this one test case 1 and then test case 2. So if you think what I'm expecting from you, Vijay, is if you think that if there is any issue with this test case, if you think it can be polished, let me know. That is one thing. If you think there are any other test cases that can be added apart from this test case 1 and test case 2, let me know. You get it?
Test case 1, yeah, valid, and she told like valid credentials,
Okay.
and I wanted to give like invalid data.
Okay.
I will step description is like I will validate with the the calculation, validate the interest rate calculation by giving the invalid data.
Okay.
That's my step description, and step number is 3.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll check whether interest is calculating according to 4%. Then it is by invalid data, right? So the result should be fail.
Again, you guys are mixing test execution with test design. So let us talk about what are the steps, what is the expected result. So failed or passed comes in execution. Okay. So maybe if you are saying like, I mean, maybe you are trying to convey something, but let us confine to test design now. So do you want me to add any step on this?
And test with boundary value analysis.
Okay, how do you want me to do that?
Like the minimum range, give the boundary values for the minimum range, like for 0 it is some minus 1, yeah, values around 0, under the 0 means minus 1 I wanted to give, and above 0 like 0.1
Mm-hmm.
and 0.
Okay.
With boundary value analysis for lowest range, and for the higher range I wanted to give for $99.
Okay.
I will check $100, I will check, and $101 I will check.
Okay.
I give 3 under the boundary value analysis. We will have all these again pre-test another some more test cases.
Okay. Fine. So hope we have spent a lot of time on this. So let me pitch in and see how we can do it in a better way. And see, let me again put Sirisha's thing and then even your thing. So Sirisha has 2 test cases written, and when application is deployed, okay. Okay.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
looking at this requirement for this particular test case, okay. Let me ask Sirisha. So when you, now let us talk about test execution and see how far we are meeting the coverage and what are the issues with these 2 test cases. Okay. So Sirisha, now application is ready and your test cases are also ready. Let me know what you are going to test, and then let me know what is the actual result and what will be the um, status of these test cases.
Yeah, if we execute the test case like with valid credentials on home page, if the home page is displayed, the test case is passed.
Okay.
And yeah, home page is displayed and status is passed.
Okay. Good. Next.
And for next one also, like if particular balances should be generated, and particular balances are in actual results, we will put like particular balances are generated, and again status will be passed.
Okay. When you say particular balances, so this is very generic to me. So when application is deployed, you are anyway going to test it with some values, maybe some balance and then the interest, right? So can you be more specific when you are evaluating this, and what is the actual result you are seeing and what is the status?
Yeah, we are evaluating with a particular range of the amounts. Like first we will check, like we will give the valid values, like it will be under it will be in between 0 to 100.
Okay, so what is the value you are giving in between 0 to 100 means?
like 40 or 10, something like that.
Okay, for $40, you are seeing whether the interest is calculated as 4%, and if it is 4%, you are passing the test case. Is this the case?
Yeah, the test case will be passed.
Then
And again, for that I will check for the boundary values also. I mean, again I will check for like 2-3 times, 2-3 amounts, whether it is calculating correctly or not. Then I will go for boundary value analysis.
okay, so when you say for 2-3 values, can you call it out what all values you will test and what are your expected things?
Like 10 and 90.
Okay. One is 10. Okay. Okay, if you are getting 90, then you are passing, right? That's it. We are done with
Yeah.
first test case.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, how about second test case?
I mean, we can we have to test with the boundary values also,
Okay.
like whether it is displaying under the 0, or 1.
So let us quantify whatever you are saying. So I can pretty much type in. So if the account balance is this, interest should be this. So that is what I am putting here. Of course.
Yeah.
So let me help. Please help me with these values.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, again, like if the account balance is 100, the interest should be 4%.
Okay.
And
Okay. Right.
yeah, if the balance is 101, the interest rate should be 6%.
Okay.
And again, I will check for the 0 also.
Okay. For 0, how much it should be?
For 0, it should say like no balance, some message it should show.
Okay.
There is no balance in your account, something like that.
Okay. So let us talk about one particular test case. Here we are saying when executing this step, we are saying if particular balance are generated, the expected result is particular balance are generated. Your actual result is in this scenario, in this test case, we are saying no balance in the account message is displayed. So what is the status of that step then? Whether it's passed or failed?
If it is displaying like there is no balance, it should be passed.
Okay. So when a test case will be passed?
When it behaving like like when it's behaving according to our expected result.
Okay, so what is your expected result for this particular balances are generated? But my actual result is no balance in the account message is displayed. So you still try to say it's passed?
Yeah, I mean like if I mean it's not a I mean all the times sometimes if the balance is 0, then we should see the message also, right?
Okay, fine. So there are a lot of issues with the approach, Sirisha. So if we go in this approach, right? So we'll be doing a lot of mistakes and then a lot of ambiguities are there. So with the approach that you have taken for this particular requirement, okay? So I'll try to list few of them and then we'll see how better we can do this, okay? So
Okay.
here when I gave you this requirement, this requirement is a bit vague. Okay, so here you have the requirement for $0 to $100, less than $100. Okay, interest is saying 4%. Okay, and you have a requirement saying that greater than 100 to 1000, 6%. Anyone in the forum can tell me, if I give a value for $100, what would be the interest?
Yeah, it will be 6% actually.
No, it should
How?
greater than 100. It won't give anything. There is no 100.
Okay, if it is 6%, let us check the requirement. My input value is $100, but nowhere in the requirement I get to know what is the behavior of the system if it is $100. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so let me just tell it step by step. Okay, so whenever there is any requirement given to you, you need not jump into test cases. First, you guys need to understand the requirement in detail. Okay, so this is where your document of understanding or your issue tracker or your clarification tracker comes into play. Okay, so this particular requirement I have given is pretty detailed, but still there are ambiguities. So we really don't know what is the system behavior in such conditions. Okay, so these all should come out as part of your clarifications with your BA or client, whoever you are interacting with. Okay, so first clarification item would go is, what is the expected result, or what is the requirement when the data or when the account balance is $100. So that we need to get a clear cut indication. Okay, so maybe it's a typo from the client or whatever it is. Okay, so just to make it simplified and to make this requirement very simple, I am correcting this requirement to 0 to 100. Right? Of course, this is not going to happen. Maybe client will come back with another range or something. So basically, this might be a requirement defect. Okay, so either they'll correct the requirement or else give another condition. Okay, so let us to make it very simple for discussion. So this was a requirement defect and it's being corrected. Okay, now hope you are clear for values from 0 to 1000 and above, right? No ambiguities, right? Great. Okay, so once we are clear with these requirements, we okay, even before going into
Praveen, see, 0 said 4% and 100 to 1000 you are saying 6%. So should we give 6 or 4 for 100?
yeah, good question.
101 we should write.
Yeah. Greater than 100, yeah.
Okay, so this helps, right?
Right.
Okay, even I should have told.
And what
Go ahead.
for these requirements, Praveen, for these requirements, we need to like plan and do the design and test case. But for this, I don't think we need any valid Bank of America login ID and password, right?
Right.
This is like
Nothing to do with
information in the
but
website.
for us to really write test case and to make sense on what we are talking, if I directly write a test case saying that verified balance are generated, then it would defeat the purpose. So this particular, for valid credential, there might be a different set of requirements. Like what happens if a user is entering valid user ID? What happens when he's entering different password or like that? That all will be dealt as part of separate test cases. Assuming those test cases are passed and already verified, I made it very simple here. Okay. So when I talk about test cases,
Testing only the like you are giving just requirements saying you are giving 4%, 6%, 8% for the balance. So this will be usually in the Bank of America website,
right,
not in your account, right?
right. No. See, basically, I have opened an account with $1,000. Okay. Now I am after a month I'm checking in and seeing whether my $1,000 is still showing as 1000 or 1040 or 1060. You might be maintaining some balance your account, right?
Okay.
So if your balance is so and so for 3 months period, Bank of America is going to add some interest on that account, right?
Okay.
So of course it's going to be real tough to simulate an exact scenario, but just to understand the concept, I have given this example. Okay, so Hope that clarifies.
Yeah.
Okay. So even before giving these requirements, right, I wanted to tell, like, we are more onto manual testing for this particular discussion, and maybe testing web-based application or any client related requirements. Okay. So whenever such requirement is given, so you have, hope you all are aware of some techniques, right?
Static and dynamic.
Okay. So having said that, this is more for functional testing, so I'm not going to discuss much details onto static testing. Okay. So in dynamic testing, right, what all things you are aware? Speak up.
Types of testing, techniques of testing, should mention all
Okay.
this. Structure based.
Then error guessing or experienced.
Have a state-based.
Okay. Then specification based or requirement based. Okay. And what else? Structure based is again more onto white box, so let us not go there. So in specification based, what all somebody was saying, equivalence partition and all, right? I'll say EVP.
Partitioning, like a boundary value analysis, and all those like state-based testing. Those are the techniques of the black box test, like functional testing, right?
Right, right, yeah. So what I'm trying to say is like, okay, let me put few things here. 1 second. Okay.
There
So like
is
this,
an
you have
error guess
right?
from me.
Yeah.
There is an error guessing technique is also there, but you have already put that error slash experience, so it should be coming under what?
It is one of the dynamic testing itself. So it's not more onto specification based. So it's a direct branch of dynamic testing.
Okay.
Okay. So like this, you have various techniques, right? So whenever there is any requirement given to you, so this thing should go into your cloud. Okay. So which best way you can use these particular methodologies to break this requirement into test cases. Okay. Because what is the advantage of this? Because you should just test these values ad hocly, right? Like for 40, 10, 90 and all. Okay. There are very serious issues in this particular test cases. Okay. First of all, Sirisha has written only 2 test cases. Okay. So what it means is I just have 2 test cases to be executed, but coming to test execution, looks like Sirisha is attempting to execute lot many test cases. So in actual results, I am getting so many things. So I actually expect a test case for each of the data that I am trying to execute. Okay. So you cannot mix up all these conditions into a single test case and evaluate. So in this test case, I am really in a tough position to evaluate whether the test case is passed or failed. Okay. So your requirement should be isolated or segregated to various conditions, and that should result in various test cases. That is one thing. Okay. So 2 test cases are not going to be sufficient for testing this requirement. That is ruled out. Then second one, if you don't follow any organized approach, you just simply get few things on your mind like 40, 90, 10, and then simply test this, and for some reason, for all the values that you have given in, if it is passing, and you will pass the test case and you will give a sign off. Okay. So you have, maybe if you look at this scenario, the testing has happened for 40, 10, 90, 100, 101 and 0, and everything passed, say suppose. But when it is deployed into production, day one, somebody enters a value 1500, and user gets weird results. No interest is calculated, simply the balance gets erased or something happens. Okay, so that is a major defect, right? So what, it's a lot of risk is there if at all we are just testing this in ad hoc manner without an organized approach. So this doesn't help. So what I am trying to say is, when I given this requirement for Sirisha has tried to follow error guessing or experience based approach, which is not covering the entire requirement. Okay, so this is one of the technique, but it is deployed if people are subject matter expertise and they are sure, like if they are aware of in and out details. So they if I give the same requirement to someone who has been working on the project for 10 years or so, and then he know where the things might go wrong, he thinks like uh, the interest might be going wrong only for more than 4 characters. Upon his experience, he will just confine his testing to only this or limited scenarios. He really doesn't follow any organized or any methodology to test this. So that is called error or experience based testing. Okay, so there's no hard and strict rule that people need not follow this, but if time permits or situation permits, if you are able to use this EVP or BVA, which are under specification based, you will have more coverage. All your test cases will ensure that your requirement is being covered. Okay, so let us see what can be done for this requirement uh, in terms of equivalent partition mechanism and then boundary value analysis. Okay, before even going there, one other thing I wanted to say is, whenever there is a requirement, what I would recommend is, first we'll try to identify the test scenarios first. Okay, this particular thing is blank, right? Then eventually break that test scenarios into test cases. Okay, okay, so this is the requirement, right? Okay, let me put it somewhere. Zero to 100, this is one condition, right? Okay, then I have 100 to 1000. Okay, 1000 greater than 1000.
So are you making the requirement traceability matrix?
No, I am just trying to I did not even go there. So first I am trying to break this requirement into an
So
organized.
Praveen, now you should write 101 to 1000, then 1001 to like that, because again you are repeating this thing.
Right, so I'm just partitioning this requirement 0 to 100, then 1000, 100 to 1000, and greater than 1000.
101 to 1000.
Right, I'm meant to make those changes, like what all values I give on this is going to be there in my test cases. You get it?
Yeah.
Like just by given data, you are just putting it into your categorization, right?
Right, so first of all, this is a valid partition, right? Okay, then I'll give 100 not 1. Okay, this is also valid partition, right? Okay, then when I have given this requirement, there should be another question, like what if the account balance for some reason if it's an overdraft or something, if it's going negative, so what is the expected result should be the question. So maybe there is an invalid partition, that is scope for negative testing, right? Okay, So maybe minus $10. Okay. So using equivalence partition, I can say like I will be able to, I'll test it for $10 and one value between 0 to 100. Maybe I'll say like here my test data conditions would be minus $10. Okay, and then value in between this. Okay, maybe say I'll say 50. Okay, then I'll give 110 and then maybe 1100. I cannot say if I just test this. What I see is like I can write 4 test cases for this particular requirement. But having said that, I'm not done totally, even not even for 4%. Okay, because I'm still in speculation. What happens if I'm giving the values for the boundary? Like if at all I'm giving for 100, what is the scenario? Because there is a high potential that logic might be messed up when it is when we are dealing with values at the boundary. Like for 100, we are, because 100 is coming into play for 4% and 100 is coming into play for 6% also, provided if this developer has taken care of this condition correctly. Okay, so there is high possibility that the boundaries that are given in the requirement might be not being dealt with by the developer correctly, right? So using EVPA, I could write, I will be able to write 4 test cases. Now let me put boundary value analysis also into this and see how many test cases I can run. So I have 0, right? So maybe I'll just test it for, this is redundant, but if required I can test it for minus $1. And then for 0, then here I'll test it for more than 0, 1. Okay, and then for 99 and then 100. Okay, then coming back to this, so I have tested it, I can test it for 101 and then 999, then 1000 and then 1001. Okay, then here I can test it for if it's already tested for 1000, it's not required, then 1001. Okay, so executing the test cases with all this data, I'll at least ensure that uh, I'm testing the most possible conditions or most possible, because I can test this the requirement with data of $0 balance, $1 balance, $2 balance, $3. For that matter, if I just consider integers, I can test this for 100 test conditions. Okay, if I go on to decimals, 100 into 100 times. Okay, and even more than that. So we don't have that much liberty or luxury to see whether this particular system is behaving correctly for all the data and see whether 4% is coming in or not. So we don't have that luxury, and we need to be very wise and deploy an systematic approach and ensure that this requirement is tested. So that is the reason we are deploying boundary value analysis and equivalence partitioning, right? So if you look at this particular process, right, we are dealing with very good result set which can be tested. So these are the conditions what we want to test it, right? So when we go to your test scenarios, first we'll say, okay, any requirement can be broken into one or more test scenarios. So it will leave it to you. I can say like I can test this in 3 scenarios, saying that verify if the interest rate is interest rate of 4% is calculated correctly. That is my first scenario. Second scenario would be verify interest rate of 6% is calculated correctly. Okay, then third scenario would be 8%. Okay, when I want to test it for 4%, that is test scenario 1, then these are the things that I want to test, right? So these all will go as a test case for me. So first test case would be saying like verify the interest rate that is calculated for minus $10 is not 4%. Okay, So we again we need to go back to the client and ask if there is a negative balance, what should be the error message or what should be the system behavior. So if the client says that um, uh, for a negative account balance, no interest needs to be evaluated, just put interest as 0. Okay, if client says that, then we'll put that in your expected result saying that for negative balance, verify whether the interest rate is 0. Okay, then when going to 50%, $50. So this is pretty much in your requirement of $0 to $100. What you do is, so whenever there is your second test case will say like verify uh, the interest amount of $2 is or interest rate of 4% is evaluated uh, for a deposit amount of $50. Your expected result would say uh, interest amount should be $2. Okay, so for $50, 4% is nothing but $2, right? So in your expect result, you will put your interest amount should be $2. Okay. So when you really execute the test case and if the account balance is $50 and then interest amount is $2, then you pass the test case saying that actual result saying that interest amount is $2. Expect result is meeting actual result, you pass the test case. So same approach holds good for all the data that I have given in. For minus $10, $50, $110, $1,100, -1. So basically, this particular requirement just for 4% can be executed with how many test cases? 8 test cases. Okay. So if I go repeat the same for 100 and this thing, so 8 plus 8 plus minimum again will be 8. So we'll be getting 24 test cases for this requirement to test this. Okay, so it's not just 2 test cases. So this particular requirement can be broken into 1 or 3 scenarios, and these 3 scenarios can be segregated or broken into 24 test cases. Okay, so by doing this organized approach, we will ensure like most of the things in the requirement are being covered. Okay.
Praveen, I have a question.
Yeah, who is this?
Ramani?
Yeah, Ramani. Yeah, speak.
When it is like when you know that the balance range is $0 to $100, why should we check it for 1001?
Where it is 1001?
No, if you are checking that, like, in the scenario, you want to check like whether that interest rate 4% has been calculated or not. If the range is 0 to 100, less than $100, why should I check for 100 and 1001?
Okay, this is something wrong with the partition I created here. Yeah, this is not required, but it will come in the test case for
The 8% and 6%.
Right.
Yeah, that I understood. Okay, thank you.
Yeah, the same thing holds good for this also. So maybe I try to put all the possible conditions. So maybe we are able to execute at least 8 test cases here, right? So this will ensure like we follow an organized approach and make sure like requirements are covered 100%. Okay. So any questions?
No, I'm good.
Okay. So to talk on the reality, so requirements will be given like this only, and people write test cases like Sirisha has done. Nobody is using these techniques nowadays, but if you are using these techniques, then because everybody is like in a fast forward world, like they simply understand the requirement and then write the test case on a blind go. Like they might write, just looking at the requirement, everybody thinks on the air and not putting these things onto the table. They'll just simply think, okay, let me test it for $50, let me test it for $100, let me test it for $150 and something like that. They just think it out of the air, and they'll try to fit themselves into error or based category. But this would be the best way if you are able to deploy your concepts of equivalence partition and boundary value analysis. Then it's going to be of great use, and there is a very less chance of defect leakage. Okay. So hope Vijay, you have a question. Vijay,
Hello.
yeah, Vijay.
Hi, Praveen.
Hi.
Actually, you said we have to write the test scenario first.
Mm-hmm.
So using the test techniques is nothing but test scenario, writing the test scenario.
Test techniques will be more for the test cases actually. So it has nothing to do with the test scenarios. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
so these whatever things I have put in here, right? This will help more for the test cases. So which all test conditions you want to test. So it
Okay.
doesn't really help for a test scenario design.
Okay. For the same requirement, can you show us how the test scenario looks? Can you just show how to write a test scenario?
Okay. Okay, again, whatever conventions following, no hard and strict rule. So it again depends on the client, vendor, or whoever you are dealing with. Okay, so I can, if I am dealing with very granular requirements, so I can make it as the requirement itself as one scenario. I can say like verify if the interest
Mhm.
verify the interest rate calculated. Okay.
Okay.
And again, this is not. I mean, test design is very vague, so it's not like a Java code or dotted code. Like it should always be like this. So it varies
Mm-hmm.
person to person. If you give this requirement to me, I will write it like this. Okay. So
Okay.
okay. So this is one way. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Or else I can simply say there are people who are very lazy. They can simply say they can write like this also. Verify the interest rate.
Comma 6%, comma 8%.
Yeah, in scenario you are describing the range, and in test case we'll go with the particular balance.
Yeah, there are people who will just simply write like this also.
Oh.
People are very clever. They'll try to do this also. Okay, so three styles you can see. Okay. I did not use any technique or any this thing, so it's all more onto the attitude, I can say. Okay, so the same requirement can be tested with these three scenarios, saying that verify the interest rate is calculated as this and this. Okay, so this one
Oh.
very generic as per the requirement. We'll say test requirement 001. Then another, oh my god, lot of spelling mistakes I'm doing. You get it?
Yeah, got it, Praveen.
Okay, so maybe for the benefit of others also, I'll try to extend this discussion for test case also. So once I'm done with this test scenario, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so let us now we need to break this test scenario into test case, right? So I'll take this
Hmm.
this thing here. Okay. Okay, so for this scenario, I now I'll have a lot of steps test cases, right? So I'll say test case
Mhm.
test scenario 001 underscore test case 001. Okay, so this is my test case ID. Then step number, step description. Okay, just for the sake of navigation and other details, I'm taking the steps from here itself. Okay, so this was very vague, right? So now here, whatever thing we have done, maybe somewhere we have written, right? So we'll take these values and then write the test case. So when we take -10, so what is the test case? So we'll say like so if client has already agreed upon saying that if there is a negative balance, the amount should be zero. Interest amount should be zero. Verify if the account deposit balance is negative. -$10. Verify the interest amount. Okay,
How can we calculate interest for negative balances, Praveen?
that is what we have gone back to the client and asked what should be the behavior when the account balance is negative, and client has said that for negative balance interest amount should be displayed as zero.
So yeah, then there is no point in calculating interest, right? So if it is zero, that should be enough.
But that is enough, but how are you going to evaluate that? Somebody needs to verify that and pass it, right?
Mm. Okay.
So interest amount should be zero is the expected result. See, if you are not going to test this, okay, maybe it's not just about the interest amount value there, okay. If you might have
Okay.
tested everything for 0 1 and everything, and for some reason when it's deployed, if due to an overdraft, if account balance is going -100 and now interest amount is also going as -100 because code is not handling that, then it's a defect,
Mhm.
right? So somebody needs to test this behavior and uh, report the results, right?
Yeah.
So interest amount should be displayed as zero. So here maybe you can try to understand the concept. So here these things were very vague. Okay.
Yeah.
So here we are trying to make it very quantified and we are trying to make sure like we make sense on what we are trying to really test. So this is test case 1.
Exactly.
So like the same thing, I'll just repeat the other things. Maybe I'll say test case 2 here and I'll play with the data. So I'll go back to my this thing which I have tested it for -10, and now I'm going to test it for 50 for a balance of $50. So I know like for $50, 4% is $2.
$2.
$2. Four, maybe if you have time you can say 4% of $50. Okay.
Yeah.
So do you see the betterment of the test case from here to here? And for that matter, the test case are not going to be very simple with step 1 and step 2 and so this thing. But I'm just trying to drive the concept so that it will be beneficial for you all. Okay. So eventually, your test requirement has 3 test scenarios, and each test scenario is linked to this thing. So maybe if you eventually try to build an RTM also, again RTM, it has its own templates across industry. So I'll just put few things here. Okay. So okay. Okay. So basically, you put this, and then you can again build a traceability between test scenarios and test cases. Okay. So that will talk about more on the. You can directly map your requirements to test cases, or else test case just to test scenarios, and then draw one other table with test case to test scenario.
Test.
So this will ensure like each and every requirement that is given to us is having corresponding test scenario or test cases. Okay. So let me not get there. So let us, because we are already due or running short of time, I believe. So having said this, so main objective of this discussion was like you get to know the connect of how to break the requirement into test scenarios and test case. Let me just drop all the hands. So hope you are able to see the difference in the both approaches and what are the benefits we are getting out of this. So if anybody has any questions, raise your hands so that before I go to Ramani for the second requirement.
No, Sampath, it's very clear actually for me.
Okay, okay, okay. And again a disclaimer from me. So when you really get into real time, things might not be very so simple or cakewalk. But if you are good with this concept, at least you will be in a situation wherein you are not watching some Tamil movie or something. So at least you will understand the context. Okay.
Okay.
Right.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah, no problem. So Ramani, are you ready? Is Ramani dropped? Oh, I muted you. Okay. Ramani, you can speak now.
Yeah, I am ready.
Great. So, hope you have taken note of a lot of things that we discussed when we have done the exercise with Sirisha, right? So,
Yeah.
I would believe like there should be some takeaways for you with that discussion, and taking this requirement into consideration, I would ask you to write the test cases for this.
So not the test scenarios.
No, I'm fine with or without test scenarios. So objective of, I mean, this is I need the test cases that you need to test. Whether you will write test scenarios or not, I'm least for that.
Okay. So the customer so the basic thing is like a customer should be having a valid account and he's opening a mortgage loan, right? So he should be having a he will get the below rates based on his profile. Okay. So if he's a new customer, so for new customer it is 88%. So if he's like so first we will check for his existence whether he's a new customer or he has been like a previous, like existing customer?
Okay, I would understand that you have got 100% understanding of this requirement. So let us deep dive into test cases. So I'm not
Okay.
I am the creator of this requirement. So let us not discuss about the requirement.
Okay. Okay. So yeah.
You want me to jump into test cases?
Yeah, you can send the value on the coupon. Okay.
Okay. Okay. So this is the requirement. Go ahead.
On his profile. So there is nothing regarding his amount he's asking for, right? There's
Right.
nothing.
Yeah.
So for new customer, the loan 8%. So if for the if there is no any boundary values like for each person.
Mm-hmm.
If the first test case is like a customer, new customer.
Mm-hmm.
Um, uh,
Let me do some copy paste.
new customer for
Go ahead. Go ahead. Go ahead. So
so this coupon is like I was not sure if coupon is valid for whom.
okay.
Can it be applicable for new customer and the existing customer?
Good question. Okay. So whichever is higher, I would say.
Okay.
My clarification for this is whichever is higher. If a new customer is coming with coupon, then he'll get 8% because showing that coupon he will not be interested to get 6%, right? So if an existing customer is coming, he would normally get 5%, but with this coupon he will be able to get 6%, right? So I'm clarifying my requirement more now. Okay.
Okay. So it's not in addition to. It's like so the existing customer will be getting 5 instead of 5%, he'll be getting 6%.
Right.
Oh, okay. So it's not a plus. Okay.
Mhm.
So for can we take the loan constraint, loan amount also as into constraints like denominators?
Okay, so whether I'm giving a loan of $100 or $1,000 or 1 lakh or 10 lakhs, I'm
Okay.
still good with percentages. So from my side, there's no constraint for a loan amount.
Oh, okay. Okay. So, okay, for existing customer, 8%. So new customer, 8%. So first one, I'll take step one as a new customer,
Mm-hmm.
and that step description is like
Okay.
he should be getting
Let me just
8%
give
of.
just for making sense on the test steps and all. So let me just give few details on the application that I'm talking. Okay.
Okay.
So it's a loan processing, mortgage loan processing application wherein uh, the user enters his details, okay, and
Okay.
in his details he will enter his SSN, say suppose, okay. So maybe SSN is the criteria to decide whether he's a new customer or existing customer or whatever it is. And while filing this application, he is giving his SSN details, and in the bottom there is a text box to say, do you have a coupon? Okay.
Okay.
If he has a coupon, he will enter the coupon code and then submits the form. Okay. And
Okay.
once he submits the form, he will get the result or the outcome saying that your loan has been approved with 8% or with 5% or with 6%. So these are the two steps. So maybe let us not bother too much on the how the application is being done. So my first step
Okay.
would be like,
Valid SSN number.
yeah,
Like
when user is filling his application filling the data in the application form. So you might say a new customer or existing customer or a customer with coupon or without coupon, whatever it is. Okay. So you can still forget about SSN, but just for the sake of understanding, I just told that. So basically, user tries to enter the details in one screen, and in the second screen, we are evaluating whether the customer is granted a loan with so and so percentage. So your input in screen 1 is deciding the output in screen 2. Okay.
Okay.
So having said this on the application front, so derive the test cases.
Okay. So, so the first step one is like for a new customer.
Okay.
With valid input data, like whatever the amount he wants or whatever the data, it's like not a negative data or anything, it's valid positive data. And he's with a coupon.
Okay, first test case, first one would be for a new customer with valid data, submits the loan
With a coupon.
new
Plus submits a loan application.
Okay.
And the next one will be an existing customer.
Okay, so this is second step.
Oh no, you mean the sixth step? Okay, sorry, I'm telling different scenarios. Okay, no problem. Okay, forget it.
Okay, if you want to write scenarios first, I can write scenarios.
No problem. We can continue with this. So he's a new customer, 8%, and the step description is the next step will be when he enters the data with a coupon, and he should be getting 8% of 8% loan. Expected result will be that 8% loan has 8% plus that coupon, right? Whichever is higher.
Okay. Loan percentage should be
Or
8%. Yes.
Praveen, can we write like this to verify if interest rate is 8% for new customer?
Yeah, that's more onto English, so that should be fine. So anything is fine.
Yeah.
Okay. So Praveen, I didn't understand. Whichever is higher means what do you really mean by?
Okay, so here if a customer is going with a coupon, he gets a loan with 6%. Okay, but if he's a new customer, and if he's a new customer, he'll still get a whichever should be lower. That really makes sense. Okay, so basically it's like if he's having a coupon says 6%, but with a new customer profile, it says he's eligible for 8% only. But since he's having a coupon, he can get 6%. So out of this, so what?
Then it is not useful for existing customer, right, Praveen?
Whichever is lower, right?
No, whichever is higher, Praveen.
I mean, it's like it should be either.
See, if a new customer comes and he brought a coupon, but as a new customer, he is going to get 8%, right? So whatever is higher, we have to
this is loan.
give that priority.
This is a loan.
No one will get a benefit. Like everyone
Whatever,
will get
yeah.
No, new customer.
New customer means 8%. Even though he brought a coupon, we'll ask them, okay, you want as a new customer 8% or you just want 6% with the coupon. So obviously the customer will opt for the new customer 8%.
Okay, so maybe this becomes...
It should be 8%.
Yeah.
New customer.
Higher, I think. That should be.
No, let me modify this requirement a bit. So customer opening...
Then like existing customer comes, if he got the coupon, he will say, okay, as an existing customer, I'll get 5%, but I have the coupon with 6%, so I want this only.
Yeah. Now it makes sense. Like 10%.
Based on the value, 10%.
Then everybody will want coupon.
Definitely. Actually, the new customer is not supposed to get that, Mika, because he should
No,
be
no,
getting
this is the correct scenario. Okay. See, here we are talking about loan, not interest. Okay. So,
yeah.
so if at all he is having a coupon, he is getting benefited, whether it is a new customer or existing customer. Okay. If he goes as a new customer profile, he gets maybe his credit score and all are very high, then he'll simply get 8%. If he's an existing customer, based on his relationship, he'll get 5%. On top of that, if he is having a coupon, he'll get 3%. So whichever is lower, he'll get the benefit. Okay.
Yeah, because it's about loan, right?
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
So, yeah. So I just got this out of my head and then I gave this
Yeah.
scenario.
No
But
problem.
anyway, we corrected that. Okay.
So,
So
okay.
Ramani, back to you. So
Yeah, if the
with
customer
this
is like
requirement, what is the expected result?
so the expected result will like he should be getting that loan with that coupon, which is like a 8 plus 3, right? 11%.
No, no, there's no concept of adding the percentages. So whichever is
Okay, then he should get a 8%.
Please.
okay. So maybe you did not get what I meant to say.
Praveen, we are really getting confused with the coupon. If you remove the coupon, that will be much better.
Okay, let me
That's
improve
okay.
the requirement a bit.
Yeah.
If it is still
No, now it should be 3.
yeah. See, let us take this case. A new customer goes to account without any coupon. He'll get a loan for 8%. A new customer goes to a bank with a coupon, then he'll get 3%. He is satisfying both the criteria. New customer S and then coupon also S. But coupon says 3%, he will get 3% benefit. So existing customer goes to the bank without the coupon, he'll get 5%. Existing customer goes to coupon with the, goes to the bank with the coupon, he'll get 3%. Is it clear?
3%.
Whichever is lower.
Okay. Whichever is lower. Okay.
Right. See,
The loan rate means like you are kind of getting like out of the amount you will be paying the bank that whatever the rate on
right.
100%, right? So it will be always
We
lower.
are not even getting into the details like what is the interest amount for that loan and all. The second
It's okay.
is pretty simple. It says your loan is approved with so and so percentage. So I'm
Okay,
pretty much concerned about what is the percentage that is being shown based on the profile that user is submitting.
Okay.
So,
So
and having said this, a new customer can never be existing customer. An existing customer can never be new customer, but there is a possibility of this particular scenario to overlap with either of these. Okay.
So the expected result for that new customer with a coupon and the submitted valid data, then his loan percentage should be. I'm confused
Oh
now.
my God.
So what could be that?
3.
3?
Go ahead and check with the requirement.
So yeah, I know he's a new customer. He's with a coupon and he has all that valid data submitted. So he's new and it should be 8, and if he's having the coupon, it is 3%. So it should be 3%.
Okay. So finally, I made something which is understandable. Great. Next.
Can a new customer use the 3% coupon and existing customer also can use the same 3% coupon?
Right. Something
Yeah,
that you have a
yeah.
cold start when you have got the discount coupon of
No
40%.
Yeah, now
new
I will make
coupon.
the second one, maybe that will be clear. The second one will be the new customer without coupon with a valid data. Without coupon, then he'll be getting that loan should be 8%.
Okay. First of all, I have a question here. I really don't know whether you're talking about scenarios or test cases or what exactly you're doing here.
Okay. So if it is a test case, that customer with a coupon, the valid submits and the loan application, the expected loan should be 3% is one test case, right?
Okay. So this is test case 1, then this is test case 2, you mean to say, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Next.
And the test case 3 will be So in that equivalent portion, means like valid and invalid, I will be separating it later on. So I'll be making it this guy as an existing customer
Okay.
with a coupon.
Okay.
With a coupon, and he will be getting 3%.
3. Yeah. Okay. Great. Next. That's it.
And the existing customer without a coupon, he will be getting 5%.
Okay.
Um, and a new customer with a coupon with invalid data submits.
Mm-hmm.
It should like for invalid data, whoever the customer existing or but new customer, actually I should say, the new customer with the invalid data submission, it should be giving according to the BRD some kind of message that the data is not valid.
Okay. You are talking about invalid data.
Either he has a coupon or he doesn't have a coupon.
So, what is your expected result?
What is the requirement?
Requirement, I did not tell anything about invalid data. So what?
Yeah. So it should be saying some message like whatever that outcome should be, it should match with that outcome.
But I did not.
Like,
I never talked about this scenario or this requirement, right? So what are you going to put in your expected?
So
My
I need not
requirement
to
is
write
this
that.
much only, right?
Okay, yeah. Then that's those are the 3 scenarios. Like
Mhm.
sorry, six test cases.
6.
Yeah, one, two, three, 1, 2, 3. I'm sorry, 2 to 4. Okay, and a new customer, existing customer, and a what else? Um, who can be that? That's all I can think of, Praveen.
Okay. Fine.
If
In
you
the
are not,
interest of time, I will not take somebody is back
excuse me.
for me.
I'm sorry, somebody had I couldn't hear you.
No, somebody is very angry at me, I believe. Okay. Maybe with frustration they left the room, I believe. Fine. So I still see Vijaya Lakshmi's hand raised. So any questions? I know I'm still interested here.
Yeah, Praveen Kumar. Yeah. I can think of one more test case like for the new customer for the with the valid loan amount without coupon, valid loan amount without coupon, maybe in between 3% to 8% you will get the interest rate.
Mm-hmm.
That is the and one more new customer with invalid loan amount with coupon also can be having the interest range rate range between 3% to 8%, and in the same way in the case of existing also, existing customer with the valid loan amount invalid without coupon somewhere in between 3% to 6%, and existing customer invalid loan amount
Mm-hmm.
with coupon
Mm-hmm.
maybe in between 3% to 6%.
Okay, Vijay, for that matter, my requirement is not at all talking about in between kind of stuff. So we cannot derive requirements and then write test cases on our own.
No,
So
it's not requirement. I think we will test with that test case also.
Okay, let me put that as a test case. So help me with the test case.
I'm sorry, I'm not sure whether it's correct
No,
or not.
definitely.
I just tried.
We'll put it on the table and see what we can do. So just help me with this sentence. So other test case, what you are trying to talk. So what you wanted me to put here.
For existing, okay, without coupon, yeah, valid data submits a loan percent should be in between 3% to 6%.
Okay, for existing
And
customer without the coupon with valid data,
loan should be 3% to 6%.
3% to 6%. Okay. Okay.
6%. And for the new customer also, and one more thing I think, with coupon, with invalid data, with coupon with invalid data also should be in the range of 3%, 6%. And the same cases in the new customer also.
with invalid data. Both these things.
Yeah, for new customer without coupon, without coupon with invalid data. No, it's already done, right? With for the test case 5 step 1, for existing customer with a coupon with the invalid data.
Okay, with a coupon. Okay.
And next one is with coupon and with invalid data. Okay. And the same case is a new customer also. Test case 6 as.
Okay.
Yeah. For new customer with a coupon, you like to include that, or otherwise it's okay?
Yeah, this should be for me to discuss. Okay. So
Yeah, for new, yeah, maybe, yeah, okay.
so even before
Thank you.
time on new test case, whatever you're trying to say, I would try to stop you here because anything that you're putting in your expect result should be, you should be able to connect it with your requirement. Okay. Now you are putting an expect result saying that forget about this step. Okay, I'm least bothered what you are trying to achieve here. Okay, whether with coupon or without coupon or whatever it is. Can you drive me this expect result with this? Is there any requirement talking about the loan percentage should be in between 3 to 6? Here I just have only 3 specific values I am looking at for the requirement, either 3 or 5 or 8 based on the user profile. But nowhere I am able to see like the loan percentage should be between 3 to 6 or 3 to 5 or anywhere. So my first question would be, where from you are originating this expected result?
Yeah. So I think we cannot expect any result for that. I think that
Let me tell the real
dropped.
challenge here. Okay, so even without the understanding of the requirement, if you have written this test case, okay, and for some reason you have executed this test case, and for some reason the loan percentage that is calculated is 8%. Okay.
So in that case, the application is doing the functionality is failed. We can
You will fail.
give the expect.
You will fail this test case, right? Saying because your expect result is saying 3 to 6 and you are saying actual result is 8, and you fail this defect. You fail this test case and you log a defect. So eventually there is a possibility that this defect will be withdrawn because developer will say there is no such requirement saying that for 3 to 6 there is no requirement saying that the percentage should be 3 to 6. So client has not given me to implement this requirement and I have not developed this. So he will reject the defect and it will come back to you and you cannot justify that particular defect because there is no requirement as such. So you will lose the battle and you will eventually withdraw the defect. Okay. So
Yeah, maybe the application is rejected like that. You can get the message, error message. Okay.
so whatever things you have, you cannot assume it on your own. Okay.
Yeah.
If you think like these are missing on the requirement, you have every right to go back and discuss with the client and get the expected. See, my requirement when I gave initially it was not clear and it got clarified a bit by adding this thing. So requirements have high possibility of getting polished or refined upon mutual discussion. Okay.
Yeah,
So
okay.
you don't simply assume the things and write the test case. If you just do a assumption, if they are passed, then fine. It's not even going to come into the radar. But if they are failed and if you are logging a defect, then a lot of things come into the play. Like, okay, where is the requirement for this particular test case? And a lot of things comes into play, and then you will be in a spoil spot.
Sorry, then in that case, I'm thinking very hard, I think. Yeah, thank you. I think I'm not able to try it. Okay.
So I have other scenario also to be discussed. This is more on to real time, but in the interest of time, I don't think I can get onto this. But I'll ask Nisha to review this and see what can be done for this approach. So Nisha, it's your time. I think.
So
Okay.
yeah, so Praveen, in mortgage loan, I guess these four cases are good enough because this is derived by decision table, right? If two
Great. Yes.
conditions are there,
Yes.
so
Yes. Yeah.
four are the test cases.
Right.
2 into 2.
Right. So that was the actual expectation for this giving this particular requirement. Okay. So whenever I give a requirement, right, you should be able to correlate this particular requirement to one of the technique that can be deployed. Okay. So if we go back to the various techniques I talked, right, so I talked about in dynamic testing we can use error based and then equivalence partition and boundary value analysis. So there is one other technique called decision based technique. Okay. So so why we should use this? Okay, now Ramani was just telling these examples or these things on the air. Okay, just whatever things that are coming onto the mind by seeing this requirement she was telling. So maybe this scenario is very limited and we just had only two conditions and 2 to the power of 2 will get 4 test cases, so she
Four,
has done
yes.
a good job, says about. But if at all there are more conditions and more decisions that needs to be made, then your test case will be more. And then if maybe if now Ramani has told only 3 test cases, then we'll be missing on the 4th test case and that will go as a defect leakage. So whenever I ask like for breaking this requirement into test case, you really need not jump into writing the test cases. So you should do an exercise on your own like this, maybe whatever I have done like this. So maybe you just draw a decision table saying that new customer, okay, then existing customer. So these are the things that are deciding my loan, right? Then decision I'll say, okay, then action outcomes. Okay, so let us see what all things that come in. Okay, so whenever I'm submitting the application form, that will decide whether he is a new customer. So if it is true, I'll say true. Okay, so in this scenario, false, right? Okay,
For coupon, we can say with coupon.
Yeah, coupon also you should mention in this table.
right, right. Okay, let me not spend much time here. So if at all you are able to draw this table, right? So you'll be able to get the outcomes, like what will be the exact outcome, and then that will help you to write more organized test cases. Okay. So let me go back to the other example. So yeah. So that will help you. Your action outcomes will be based on the decision table. You will have 3, 8 or 6 or 3, 8 or 5, whatever it is. Okay. So in one of the outcome will be 8, one of the outcome will be 5, one of the outcome will be 3, and even with coupon, whatever it is, you will get the results. So what I am wanted to bring in by this example is uh, you just need to correlate which particular technique can be used for this. So here I don't see an opportunity to use equivalence partition here. If at all there is a range kind of data in the requirement, something like 0 to 1000 or something like related to dates and all, then it's a best candidate for equivalence partition or boundary value analysis. Okay, so this requirement has nothing of that kind when compared to requirement 1. It's more onto a decision as like flag value yes or no or true or false. So it's a conditional requirement. Okay, so this is a best candidate for using decision technique. Okay, so if you just write a decision table for the requirement, that will help you to make sure that okay whether you are testing all possible conditions. Okay,
Okay.
are we clear with this?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
So because if at all there are 3 conditions, then I mean this condition actually it's not exactly a mutually exclusive condition, but it is getting overlapped with others. But if we have like 3 conditions, we might be getting 8 test cases. Okay.
9.
2 to the power of 3.
If 3 conditions.
No, not 3 by 3. It's 2 to the power of 3.
Yeah, it's 2 to the power 3. Yeah.
Right.
Yes.
Okay, maybe something like a credit card application if is like same thing like if it is 15% with new customer having he'll get a 15% or whatever it is. Okay, APR kind of thing, whatever it is. You can just correlate this to any example whatever you are putting in your project, whether it's a credit card processing thing or whatever it is. Okay.
Yes, Praveen.
So then what else we have? So basically you are trying to get the connect right, where how the requirements are translated into test cases and see, because we get a lot of things in the air, like we get a lot of things in the mind and we simply try to put the things as test case, but you just need to have a pause button, try to have a big, I mean broader view of what the requirement is and how we are going to really test it. Okay, so the more the number of test cases you write, I mean, of course, that doesn't mean like you go beyond the requirements. So the more the detailed or organized approach you are following, the more will be your quality of the product. Okay. So we have just 10 more minutes. I don't think we'll be able to cover the rest too. So I'll just open up the forum for any generic questions you might have. Maybe at some other time we can discuss on healthcare related requirement that I mentioned here. So anyone has any specific questions?
Yeah. Actually, Praveen, this is Ramani.
Yeah, Ramani.
Recently I was asked like to write a test plan on top of a ATM machine.
Mm-hmm.
And when I was about to tell him that because it is a test plan, I was asking him to like to tell about the scope, whether it is like a valid card or invalid card, like that. I started beginning with the scope. If it is an invalid card, there is no point of testing it, putting it in the ATM machine, right?
Okay, so was it a client interview or a vendor interview?
It's a client interview.
So, but I doubt nobody can ask like for a requirement. Nobody can ask like specific scenario, that is that too, like write a test plan for this ATM machine.
Yeah, he said write a test plan. Start with planning. So whenever I was started saying like about the scope and the risks and he said no. And then he said no. Start with that you are a customer having an ATM machine and with a card. So again he said first he said like you are building a house and you don't jump into where is the bedroom, where is the bathroom and everything, but you will go with the beginning, right, with a plan.
Mm-hmm.
So I was starting like that, and he cut me, and he said no, and then I was kind of confused whether I should start with the scope and everything. If they're asking for a plan, that is the basic, right? You have to talk about the sources and the time
Mm-hmm.
and the scope, right? When it is a test plan.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
I don't
obviously,
know.
see, test plan cannot be simply written for a requirement. So it's more onto the engagement. Okay, so if your requirement for more for ATM machine or whatever it is, the concept is going to be the same. We try to understand what is the scope, and then
Uh,
there are many things. What all things we are going to test. So if it is an ATM machine, then is it just the program that is being tested remotely, or else we really test it with the machine? So a lot of things that go in there, because when you say ATM machine, uh, you know mobile tested, right? Mobile has a software, so it can be tested without even a cell phone. Maybe they remotely try to simulate the environment and test it. That is one way of testing. If it goes one step ahead or even matured, they really give mobile devices even before giving to production. They'll give the mobile devices to some users or some test engineers and ask them to play with it, and
yeah.
that is other way of testing. So the change in these two approaches is based on the level of testing and the kind of testing the client is asking us. So these are all things we really need to know from the client, and then only you can put all your scope and approach and all other things in the uh, your test plan. Okay, so if he's asking how do you write a test case for the ATM machine, then it would make sense. Okay, for a project with an ATM machine, what would be the test plan? Then it is a definite candidate for the remaining or follow-up questions to be answered. So if I am in your place, I would go back to the client and say, uh, I need more details on what is the requirement about, and then that will help me to design the test plan.
Okay.
Okay,
So
that is
we
very
cannot jump.
yeah. Go ahead.
As soon as he asked, like, so we should not jump into that scope and, like, time frame and scheduling and
Right.
everything. So
See,
you,
right. So how are you going to tell if you say like even for a test case, I would go back and say like I'll try to get more details on the requirement first. Okay. So even for me to write a test case for that, I am really stuck with the expect result. If even if I say like okay, insert an ATM card so and so, I cannot put my own expected results. Right? It should be driven by the requirement. So with or without invalid card, what is expected result and all, those are driven by the requirement. So at least you need to get a sample requirement flow what the client is expecting. So that will help you to write the test cases. For test plan, you really need to understand what is the expectation from the client for this particular application related to ATM machine. So then only you can get to know what you are going to really test, whether you will test it remotely or in person or whatever it is. Okay, or else if it's already maybe you can go with some question saying that if it is already a developed application and is it like it's a version change or whatever it is, then if it then it's an ideal candidate for regression testing. So
no, he said like, how to use an ATM machine, right? So you are just there, and so I didn't understand. If he is like telling me that, how do I plan for it? Means like I can make a test cases about it. Like, I can make different test cases how to use an ATM card in the machine.
mhm.
What is the outcome? What is the expected value? He said you might be having lot of experience. Have you ever had an ATM? I said yeah. Then go ahead, start with the plan. He said.
Okay, maybe you can again get it clarified whether he's really interested in test plan document or else your workflow on how to test it. Okay, because again test plan is a common word. People use it in a different purpose. Okay, so even in QC you have test plan for test cases. Okay, so first try to get it clarified whether he is really interested in the test plan document which talks about just pose the question saying that do you want me to explain the test plan document for this requirement which contains scope and all. If he says yes, go ahead with your discussion. If he says
Okay,
no, that
okay.
is not the thing. I just need to know how you are going to test this and all. Then you might be using this state transition technique,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, state-based testing and
Yeah.
everything. Yeah, but then he
That
said like give me 4 functional testing, two valid, 2 invalid, and performance testing. Then he went to that kind of test cases. Then I was answering those.
hmm
Um, so I was kind of confused. And there is one. I'm sorry that if they might have anybody has any question, let
No.
them ask. Otherwise, I have one more question.
Okay. Yes, it was so nice of you. Right. Anybody else? While Ramani is parking her question, if anybody else have a question, raise your hand. Okay. Anu. Yeah, Anu, go ahead.
Hi, Praveen.
Hi, Anu.
I'm not sure that my question is going to make sense to you or not, but this question is really bugging me. So I want to ask you that as a tester, our job is to break the application with all possible scenarios before delivering it, right?
Right.
So when we write the test cases, we take that approach that we have to write down or test all the possible scenarios.
Right.
But today's scenario, I don't see everything is coming out positive. I mean, it's pass, or I didn't see any negative approach where it can fail also.
Okay.
So I am kind of confused now.
Yes. So let us go back to the test cases here. Okay. So I definitely don't deny that the tester's job is to break the system. Okay. That holds good provided given requirements are tested.
Yeah. So is it depends requirement to requirement as well?
Right. Not really. What I'm trying to say is first we need to ensure whether the given requirements are tested or not. That is one thing. Once uh, once all the requirements say, like where you take this example, okay. So first we need to be more inclined for the positive testing, whether all the requirements are covered or not, and then and also ensure that system is not behaving adamantly. That is negative testing approach, because uh, when it goes for negative testing, I can do n number of things. Say if you just take yahoo.com web page, okay, I can, there might be a requirement saying that with valid login credentials whether user is able to log in. Okay, so
Yeah.
you can test this requirement by clicking submit button once, okay, and twice
Yeah.
and thrice or whatever it is, okay. But one test case is click on login buttons once, okay. Other test case will be 10 times. Even without waiting for the home inbox, you are clicking to submit button 10 times. This is negative testing, okay. So first you have not even tested it for login, and for a single attempt you are going with this approach, okay. So negative testing might be not real to the uh, the occurrence of negative testing aspects will be very less, right. So for not at the expense of the requirements, you cannot simply go into negative testing. First we need to ensure all the requirements are tested and then go for the negative. And having said that, we do not compromise on the negative testing by doing these techniques, because in my requirement I don't have anything for -10, but still we went back to the client and got to know what is the requirement. So with these techniques, we are not even compromising negative testing related aspects. So we are covering this, and unless these values are keyed into the application, you cannot really say it is passed or failed. So these are only the conditions that I have kept in. Okay, so it doesn't mean that when I go to these test cases, right? This is my only expected result. It doesn't mean it's passed. I really don't know when I really execute this test case whether I get this expected result or not. So don't be under the conclusion that these are all passed. So these are all again candidates for failed scenarios, too, failed test cases. Get it?
Okay. Thank you, Praveen.
Yeah, no problem. So Ramani, back to you.
Yeah, hi. So do we ever file any kind of defect against the doc?
Yeah, that is done in static testing. So if you are given a requirement document to be reviewed, or if you are given your subordinates thing to be document to be reviewed, maybe test case also, review comments can be treated as a review defect. So for requirements, whatever I said, this requirement was corrected, right? So in defects, when you log a defect in QC, right, there will be a section called defect type. Okay, whether it's a code defect or a database defect, or it's a requirement defect or whatever it is. Okay, so that will this is a scenario where I'm logging a requirement defect. Okay.
Okay. So it's a requirement defect.
Right.
So there was one question again in the last interview. There was kind of contradictory with that. He was saying there is a calculator where you have to write the test cases, and the BRD is showing it is 2 plus 2 is equal to 5.
Okay. BRD is
Okay. 2 plus 2 is equal to 5.
Okay.
So do you file a defect on that, or do you say it's like according to BRD it is not working as a 2 plus 2 is equal to 5. So do you file the defect, or do you just say it is like it is failing, and do you file like that, or what do you do?
Okay, BRD is saying 2 plus 2 equal to 5. Okay, so again, I would say if I am the candidate, before even writing the test case for this, I would have gone back to the client and get this clarified. So it's very late in the game that now I am executing the test case, and now I am putting myself into a trouble, saying that as per the BRD, I am not getting the expected result. So I myself have invited the trouble here in your case. Okay, so if this is the requirement given to me, and the same question has been posed to me, I would say that I might have not even got into such a scenario, because by the time I am writing the test case, I could have got it clarified with you whether 2 plus 2 equal to 5 is a valid requirement. If at all I get a sign off from you, then my test case is pretty much going to be the same, 2 plus 2 equal to 5. So already I got a buy-in from you. So if the application is not behaving or showing 5, then I pretty much fail the test case and log a defect. This would be the response. Get it?
But yeah, means like you are saying if the BRD is like, if you first you go and check with them before you file the defect. That's your first approach.
No, what I am trying to say is, when you are executing this test case, you are seeing like 2 plus 2 equal to 5, but the application is saying 4. That is actually correct, right? Say suppose. Okay.
Yeah.
And the client is saying that your expected result is 5 and your actual result is 4. Are you going to log a defect or not is the client question, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So if that is the question, if I were in your place, I would say, first of all, even before executing this test case, at the time of test design itself, I would have got it clarified with you whether the requirement is correct or not. Whether 2 plus 2 equal to 5, is this a valid requirement or not? That is the first thing that I would have done. I'll say that. Okay. I would have not even executed this test case before getting this clarification from you. So once I get a clarification from my respective client or you, saying that 2 plus 2 equal to 5 as per BRD and this is the requirement, then when I am executing this test case, if I am getting the result as 4, this is pretty much deviating from your expectation and even the BRD. I am going to file the defect and check the test case.
Okay. So what he was expecting me, like, I'm a tester and I know it should not be like 2 plus 2 cannot be 5. So that's what I think he was expecting.
So it's again a common sense, like 2 plus 2 equal to 4, but here we are in an IT world where it is client driven. If client says 2 plus 2 equal to 2, we are supposed to test it. So everything is client driven. So if as long as we get a buy-in from them, then we follow the process and get it documented.
Okay. Yeah, sure. Thanks, Praveen. So we better first, like, before the document has been done, like, we will check with that document itself, like with the requirement also before filing.
Yeah, because at the time of test design, right, you get to know whether this is a valid requirement or not. So then and there itself, there is an opportunity to correct the requirement. So
Yeah.
Late in the game, if you write the test case and then you yourself will be inviting the trouble, like you write a test case blindly with this requirement, and then you get a result of 4, but the requirement is saying 5, and you log a defect, developer says this is not correct, and a lot of unnecessary trouble, right? So there is a saying, right? Stitch in time saves 9 or something like, right? So sooner you identify the issues, then it will be better for you.
Okay. Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, no problems. So anyway, I think it was a good discussion and it helped all of you. So thanks for
Yeah.
bearing with me
Thank
for
you.
the past 2
Really,
hours.
it's helping us. Like now, so we will try to do better job in the testing. I mean, in the test cases.
Yeah. Anyway, thanks for all the patience and hearing me.
Praveen, one last question.
Sure.
If you don't mind, can you explain the requirement for, just vaguely at least, briefly?
Okay. So this one is very. I mean, requirements will not be
Data.
always like this. So you have a lot of maybe it's like data mapping testing. So you have one Excel document saying like in your source file, maybe there is an XML one saying that patient name field is source file. Okay, so like this, a lot of fields in your inbound file. Inbound is something which is going into the transaction. Okay, and maybe field 1 to field 9 are related to patient details like patient name, first name, last name, and lot age and all. Maybe these details are related to some address, like address line 1, address line 2. Okay, so what I was trying to tell in this scenario is like in your project you might be having a lot of flow, like say suppose this is your processor in your application, say suppose.
Praveen, is this data mapping means like what are the business BRD given the requirements and whatever we did in this like all the steps and all the test cases and all the test results and everything. So are we making a document means like verifying the requirement and the result and everything? Are we making a document? Is data mapping?
No, not really. So basically I'm just giving a field mapping document for you to test whether from source file 1 to source file 2, say suppose this all data is going and sitting in another file. Okay, okay, so
Praveen, I'm really getting confused. Are we mapping the requirement to test case or the elements in the test case?
okay, so this is a requirement actually I'm talking about. Okay, it has nothing to do with test case or anything. I'm trying to explain the requirement here. Okay, I'm not mapping any test case,
Okay.
anything. So this is a requirement, data mapping validation. All the elements that are generated in XML are as per the data mapping for the various claims I'm saying. Okay. So this is one of the real-time scenario I'm trying to explain actually. Okay.
Okay, okay.
Okay. So this is a claim data that is going in as per this flow. Say this is claim data. Okay. So maybe you are sending one HTML file to your processor in your application, in your project, and that will generate an XML, say suppose. Okay. So now in your project you are supposed to test like for all the claims, whatever data that is going into the processor, you are getting an XML, and for that XML all this data, field 1 is whether field 1 is going and sitting in field 1 or not. So maybe how to show an arrow here. So this is a traceable. I mean, this is the mapping. Here, data mapping says like patient name in this HTML file should be populated in so and so tag in XML. Okay, so this is the mapping document that is being given to you. You get such requirements also. Like that, you will have 100 fields. Okay, they simply give
Okay.
you have a requirement like all the files that are coming from the inbound are in line with the outbound files that are generated. Okay, so this is a data mapping that is given to you, and you are supposed to validate these fields. So in such scenario, what you are going to do was my this thing. I know what would be the next question. So how are you going to test these things? So that was my other requirement. We wanted to know what would be the approach and how you guys will be testing. So again, this is a good candidate for good discussion at later point of time. So I just don't want to explain things just blindly. So at least this will answer your question what this requirement is about, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
So
Satya,
data mapping meaning always, this is the explanation you're saying. It is different from traceability matrix.
No, and yeah, I'm not at all talking about traceability or anything. So it's like
Okay.
maybe it's an ETL testing you can take, or just normal functional testing wherein one file is getting transferred to other file with not
Other.
with
Okay.
some data translations. Like maybe in your incoming file you have SSN, and in the outbound file
Oh.
should be coming as a SSN only, but with the last 4 digits only to be shown. Other things should be masked.
Oh.
Some lot of requirements.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
basically it's file translation with a lot of data mapping conditions.
Okay.
So,
Got it, Praveen. Got it.
okay, fine. Satya has got a discount today for today.
Actually, see, in testing fundamentals and all, I didn't read about this data mapping and all.
No, why
I don't know, like how
like
thing all.
yeah, we
I
really don't have
read
any
about the.
concept for this Satya, but still you really don't have any control on the kind of project you get in, right? It's not like if I just talk about these techniques and then it's not going to be as simple as this. Like okay, in a project where you go in, client will be asking you to do equivalent partition testing or something. It's not going to be that straightforward. So that's the reason I wanted to bring few other scenarios which are more near to real time. So it has nothing to do with the concept, but
Like
more on
read
the
about data mapping, it's like they are telling in different like see, one is like they wrote like a documentation, means like different files and how do they verify the requirements and they verify the end results and everything,
okay.
and they have to make a doc submit. And another one I read about like XML, that is like they gave like if you just go into the data and click in the XML and add in everything, so
Okay,
make an
got it.
XML
I get
file.
to connect Vijay. I believe like maybe something else was taught earlier, but it has its own purpose. But I don't deny that. But here my intention when I say data mapping, I just retermed it for field mapping validation also. So this was the objective. Like I don't deny the other argument, whatever people have conveyed earlier, I believe. So this is the other requirement that you really get in the various projects you might go in. So at least forget about the other definition that people might have told. You are clear with the field mapping, right?
Yeah, this one is okay. So usually like see you give the requirements, so based upon the requirements we make the test cases and everything. So after the test case, do we do this mapping and everything?
Yeah, basically there will be a requirement traceability matrix. Many people
Yeah,
follow.
traceability map in the beginning itself we do that, and like, then we write down all our test cases, then we'll file our test cases, right?
Right.
So then in the end, do we do this mapping validation and then this XML, this thing?
No, you are getting things mixed with the process. Okay, so RTM is more onto the process. Whether it is, it has nothing to do the requirements with the requirements. Okay, so if your project is demanding to validate to file translation, field level validations to be validated from file 1 to file 2, that will definitely be taken care as a test case, and then it will be executed. So it has nothing to do with RTM related stuff. So in the test cases related to this requirement will definitely go into RTM. Okay.
Okay.
This is one of the flavor of a requirement.
So test case, how we do? I don't have any idea how to do this as a test case.
Okay, so you will be getting a mapping document, something of this kind, saying that like in source file, this will be the source field definition and this will be the destination. Of course, this is very layman kind of thing that I have drawn here. So you will have a mapping talking about what are the source elements, what are the destination elements, and which field should go and sit into which field in the destination. And if there are any translations, there will be a transformation logic here. So you'll be just given this mapping document for you to write test cases. Okay. Then you will write test case saying that okay,
Oh, okay.
These are related to
Okay, the field.
yeah. So maybe you will try
Okay,
to
if I
write
write like
the
field,
logical section. That's the reason I
field one.
said this is a ideal candidate for substantial discussion. So that's the reason.
And Praveen, for this type of scenario, do we write test cases for all 19 fields? For example, if we take this thing, do we write or we do equivalence partitioning or something like techniques also we can use and write, here and there for field 1, 10 and 19 again?
Okay, it again depends on the kind of project you are in. If it is ETL kind of testing, you need to test it for each and every field. So you cannot discount on any field. So you have to write test case for each, and maybe if you want, you can write test case for one field. But if you think like you can say these are all related to patient address, say suppose. Okay. If I have a luxury of writing 10 tests, these many test cases, I'll write all the test case for this and see whether the field 1 10 is mapping to field 10 in one test case and 11 to 11 in another test case. That is one approach. Or else I'll write a single test case saying that verify all the elements in the patient address tag or patient address section are populating correctly in the corresponding file. And then in all the subsequent steps, I'll say in one of the step I'll say field 10 is mapped to field 10 in XML, and then in next step I'll say field 11 is mapped to field 11. So it's again left to my discretion whether I test these fields as separate test case or within the same test case. Okay, but I don't compromise on missing the fields. Okay.
Okay, got it.
So if it is a direct mapping like field 13 is going into field 13 with no transformation, then you can just make a logical section of fields with direct mapping and test it in one test case. But if there are test cases like field 6 is getting more populated into field 6, say there is an SSN like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 9, 8, 9. This is the data, say suppose. And my transformation logic is saying that this should be showing us this.
9899.
There will be a lot of that are achieved during data mapping. They simply don't try to transfer one file into other file. It doesn't really make sense. They try to achieve a lot of business scenarios by doing this file transformation. They might be having some issues or some business requirements that are not being met with the source file. So that's the reason they are trying to convert into another file. So like this is a good example. So here the SSN is getting exposed, so they really want to mask it. So during this translation they want to do this. So maybe when you write test cases, you choose all these test cases which are related to data translation and test them separately, exclusively. Okay. So yeah, lot many things even when you do the data mapping or field level testing. Okay.
Yeah. Thank you, Praveen. Thank you so much.
Yeah, no problem. Okay then. Again, thanks to each one of you for bearing with me. So have a great evening.
Praveen, are you going to take one more class?
At this point of time, this is the only thing I believe. The business scenarios.
Okay, because 2 scenarios are left, so I thought maybe you will complete that.
Yeah, we'll see how it goes.
Yeah, Praveen, definitely it is helping us. So if you can make one more class, I think
Yeah, we'll see how
That'll be
it goes.
better.
Yeah, not a big deal. Yeah. Okay.
Okay, thank you, Praveen.
Yeah,
Thank you.
no.
Bye bye.
Yeah, thanks. Good night. Yeah.
Thank you. Good night.
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you. Bye.
Yeah. No. Yeah. No.